possible breakthrough between Republicans right now as they move ahead with a compromise agreement on repealing and replacing Obamacare, an effort that clearly failed last month. Joining us now from Phoenix, Arizona, Republican Congressman Trent Franks. He's a member of the House Armed Services Committee, also a member of the House Freedom Caucus. Congressman, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Let me get your quick fix right now on where repealing and replacing Obamacare stands. The House Speaker, Paul Ryan, says the finishing touches, his words, are being put on a revised piece of legislation. We know the Freedom Caucus, and you're a member of the Freedom Caucus, fiscal conservatives, and the more moderate so-called Tuesday group. They have been talking. As far as you know, Congressman, where do those discussions stand right now? Do you think some compromise could emerge as early as next week, ready for a final vote on the House floor?
Well, it's my opinion that that is the case, Wolf. I'm convinced that the good news is that whatever comes out of this negotiation, I believe, is going to result in a better bill than we would have had before. So any reticence that some of us might have had, I think, is going to ultimately pay dividends.
So you're upbeat that something could be revived?
I am. The greatest challenge that we have with the health care issue is that we've had to do it through reconciliation because of the 60-vote no debate rule in the Senate. And that means we have to go through the Byrd rule. And I don't want to get esoteric here, but ultimately that means to repeal and replace the full-blown version of that is not possible. We have to do something less than that, and that's very frustrating to some of us. So we're doing the very best that we can, but I really think the big story is the rules of the Senate making it almost impossible for us to get something to the Senate floor in this very politically polarized environment.
Yeah, well, those are the rules. You got to live with the rules. Let's talk about North Korea, Congressman. We've just learned that China has put some of their military forces on higher alert. This as tensions clearly continue to heat up on the Korean Peninsula right now. What's the latest information you're getting? How tense is that situation?
Well, Wolf, let me just say that there is a moment in the life of nearly every problem like this when there is an opportunity for it to be seen and clearly understood and still time to deal with it effectively. And that moment happened back when Wendy Sherman was negotiating this deal with North Korea. She was the architect of the North Korean nuclear deal. And they paid the ransom, but they did not secure the hostage. And ironically, North Korea had already gone nuclear when they did the same thing with Iran. And I'm frustrated deeply because this is a serious situation now, and it seems that my friends on the left are more interested in expressing their feelings than they are the outcome of these deals, and that the number one qualification for negotiating a deal is somehow having catastrophically failed at it in a previous instance. And so this is a very serious situation that we're starting to face now. And the President of the United States has far fewer choices than the last one did 8 years ago. And the options that he has are far more dangerous than they were.
Because you make a fair point that the North Korean nuclear deal negotiated during the Bill Clinton administration, clearly that didn't work out the way that everyone hoped it would work out. What you're suggesting now is the nuclear deal worked out during the final year or so of the Obama administration could end up the same way. But only yesterday, Rex Tillerson, the Secretary of State,
exactly what I'm suggesting,
and the State Department, they said that so far, Congressman, so far the State Department concluded in their 90-day review that the Iranians are complying with the agreement. They're doing all sorts of other bad things, but with the nuclear deal, they're complying. And so what are you suggesting?
But why wouldn't they, Wolf? That nuclear agreement puts them on a firm, clear path to becoming a nuclear-armed nation. There's no reason for them not to comply with it. And that's the unfortunate aspect of it all. And of course, you know, there are two components to every threat. That is the intent and the capacity. We are now seeing a situation where some of the most dangerous people on earth are gaining the capacity to do us harm, and we're relying on their intent not to. And Iran is on a very frightening path, and I hope the president can do things necessary to interdict that path, because otherwise.
So what are you suggesting, Congressman? What can he do?
I'm suggesting at this point that he has to rely on other things that Iran is doing that are outside the the framework of what they should be doing and applying enough pressure to at least move towards a regime change. Because if we don't either interdict the present trajectory, we could see nuclear terrorism in our lifetime. And that is not a casual statement. And I have 8-year-old twins, and I'm pretty angry that somehow we under the administration prior here have just let things get to the point that they are. And now I think that we're in a pretty significant situation. North Korea tested nuclear potential weapons 5 times during the Obama administration. And that puts it in perspective in my mind. And we did essentially nothing.
And so if North Korea does a 6th nuclear test in the coming days or weeks, what should the U.S. do about that?
Well, when they first started doing the missile test, my suggestion was that we should have had Aegis capability there and to take down their first missile test, which would have indicated our definitive commitment. But as I said, without speaking in terms that only inflame or escalate the situation, the President's options now are fewer and much more dangerous. But we cannot let either North Korea or Iran remain on their present trajectory. It is a threat to the United States. It's an existential threat in Iran's case to Israel, and we just can't let that happen. And unfortunately, this is sort of the harvest of a left-wing ideology that just simply stands by with a golf club and ignores some of the dangers that are in front of us at this point.
Congressman Trent Franks, thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you, sir.
Up next.